Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to share a story that quietly changed the way I see respect, conflict, and the strange power of silence. It's a story about a young man named Armin who lived in a crowded city where opinions were loud, tempers were quick, and everyone seemed ready to argue over the smallest things. Armin was known as a smart and hard-working person, but he carried one weakness that constantly pulled him into trouble. He felt the need to defend himself every single time someone misunderstood him, criticized him, or spoke badly about him. Whenever a coworker questioned his work, Armin would immediately explain himself in long speeches. If a neighbor complained about noise, he would argue point by point until both sides were exhausted. Even online, if someone left a negative comment about him, he would spend hours crafting replies to prove he was right. In his mind, defending himself was the same as protecting his dignity. He believed that silence meant weakness and that every accusation demanded an answer. One day, a new manager named Mr. Rahim joined Armin's workplace. Unlike others, Mr. Rahim was calm and observant. He spoke little, but when he did, people listened. During a team meeting, a project Armin had worked on was criticized by a colleague who blamed him for a delay. Before Armin could launch into his usual defense, Mr. Rahim gently raised his hand and said they would review the facts later. Armin felt frustrated. He wanted to explain everything right there, to clear his name in front of everyone. After the meeting, Armin rushed to Mr. Rahim's office with documents and emails ready to prove he wasn't at fault. He spoke quickly, his voice filled with urgency. Mr. Rahim listened patiently without interrupting. When Armin finally finished, expecting praise for his thorough explanation, Mr. Rahim simply smiled and said, "I know you're not at fault. I already checked the records this morning." Armin was stunned. All his effort to defend himself had been unnecessary. Seeing Armin's confusion, Mr. Rahim invited him to sit. He said something Armin would never forget. He explained that when a person constantly rushes to defend themselves, they often give more power to accusations than those accusations deserve. He told Armin that truth has a quiet strength. It doesn't need to shout to survive. People who are wise observe actions over time, not emotional speeches in heated moments. Armin left the office thinking deeply about those words. At first, he felt uneasy. If he stopped defending himself, wouldn't people walk all over him? Wouldn't misunderstandings spread? Yet he couldn't ignore the calm confidence Mr. Rahim carried. There was something powerful about a person who didn't scramble to prove their worth. A few days later, Armin faced another test. During a group discussion, someone again questioned his decision on a project. His heart raced, and the familiar urge to defend himself surged inside him. He opened his mouth, then remembered Mr. Rahim's words. Instead of arguing, he calmly said, "Let's review the results at the end of the week." Then he returned to his work. The room fell silent for a moment. People seemed surprised by his composure. That week, Armin focused entirely on improving the project rather than worrying about opinions. When the results were presented, the success of his work spoke for itself. The same colleague who had criticized him nodded in approval. Armin noticed something new. By not defending himself aggressively, he had shifted the conversation from personal conflict to measurable outcomes. His silence hadn't weakened him. It had strengthened his position. Outside of work, Armin began experimenting with this approach in his personal life. When a friend misunderstood his intentions and accused him of being careless, Armin felt the familiar sting of injustice. But instead of arguing late into the night, he listened quietly and said he was sorry for any confusion. He chose to show his care through consistent actions in the following days. Slowly, his friend's frustration faded, replaced by appreciation. Armin started to realize that constant self-defense often traps people in endless cycles of conflict. When two people argue to protect their pride, neither truly listens. Both sides become focused on winning rather than understanding. By stepping back and allowing space for reflection, Armin discovered he could break that cycle. Silence created room for clarity. Weeks turned into months, and Armin's reputation began to change. People described him as steady and reliable. They trusted his work because he no longer wasted energy on arguments. Instead, he invested that energy into improvement. Even when rumors or criticisms surfaced, Armin responded with patience. He understood that chasing every negative opinion was like trying to catch the wind. It drained him without bringing real peace. One evening, Armin met Mr. Rahim again after work and thanked him for the lesson. Mr. Rahim shared another insight. He said that defending oneself is sometimes necessary when protecting important values or correcting serious misunderstandings. However, he warned that many everyday conflicts are fueled by ego rather than truth. Learning to distinguish between the two is a sign of maturity. Armin reflected on his past and saw how often his arguments had been driven by fear of judgment. He had equated criticism with personal attack. By letting go of that fear, he felt lighter. He no longer needed everyone's approval to feel secure. His confidence came from knowing he was doing his best, not from winning debates. As time passed, Armin encountered a major challenge. A significant error occurred in a collaborative project, and several team members quickly blamed him. The pressure was intense. Old habits whispered that he should defend himself immediately and loudly. But Armin chose a different path. He calmly gathered evidence, corrected the mistake with his team, and presented the final results without accusing anyone. When the truth eventually emerged, it became clear that the error was a shared responsibility. Armin's calm leadership during the crisis earned him deep respect. His colleagues admired how he prioritized solutions over blame. In that moment, Armin fully understood the power of not rushing to defend himself. His restraint had turned a potential conflict into an opportunity for unity. The story of Armin spread quietly among his peers. Many noticed how his approach reduced tension in meetings and encouraged cooperation. People felt safer admitting mistakes because they knew he wouldn't attack them. This atmosphere of trust improved the entire workplace. Armin realized that his personal growth was influencing those around him in positive ways. Through this journey, Armin learned that silence is not weakness. It is a form of strength that requires confidence and self-control. Defending oneself constantly can create noise that hides the truth. But thoughtful silence allows actions and results to speak clearly. It shifts focus from protecting pride to building character. I share this story because many of us live like Armin once did. We feel compelled to respond to every criticism, to explain every decision, and to correct every misunderstanding immediately. In doing so, we exhaust ourselves and feed conflicts that could have faded on their own. The lesson here is not to remain silent in the face of injustice, but to recognize when silence serves wisdom better than words. When we stop defending ourselves unnecessarily, we gain the freedom to focus on growth. We listen more carefully, act more deliberately, and trust that consistent behavior will reveal our true intentions. Respect earned through calm actions lasts longer than respect demanded through arguments. So the next time you feel the urge to defend yourself instantly, pause for a moment. Ask whether your response will create understanding or simply add fuel to the fire. Remember Armin's journey and the quiet confidence he discovered. Sometimes the strongest statement you can make is to let your actions speak and allow time to uncover the truth. In the end, Armin's greatest victory was not proving others wrong. It was mastering his own reactions. By choosing patience over pride, he built stronger relationships and a deeper sense of inner peace. That is the deep moral of this story. True strength is not found in loud defenses, but in the calm assurance that your character will stand firm without constant explanation.